From broken immigrant to empire builder. The shocking truth that changed everything. In the heart of the bustling city, where dreams lit up the skyline and shadows whispered secrets, there stood a small, run-down apartment. Inside, a man named Miguel sat hunched over an old, cracked table. His hands trembled, not just from the chill that crept in through the thin walls, but from the weight of the past he carried like lead in his chest. Just last year, he was a nobody forgotten, lost in the tide of a foreign land. Now, whispers spread through the streets like wildfire, claiming he was on the verge of building an empire. How could a broken immigrant transform into a titan of industry? It was scandalous, it was exhilarating, and it was downright unbelievable. The tale began with a curious shimmer in the air one fateful night. Miguel had stumbled upon a hidden marketplace, concealed beneath a bustling alley filled with street vendors. But this was no ordinary bazaar. Dimly lit by flickering lanterns, it thrummed with a strange energy. Unspeakable treasures lay before him, trinkets from the far corners of the world, each crammed with stories of desire, betrayal, and fortune. A kaleidoscope of colors danced in his eyes, bright silks, exotic spices, and gleaming jewelry that called out like a siren's song. It grabbed hold of his heart, pulling him deeper into a realm where the ordinary laws of economics didn't apply. As he wandered further through the marketplace, whispers echoed around him, phantoms of past failures and hopes for redemption. Rumors of unending riches floated through the air, tinged with a sweet aroma and a hint of danger. Eager onlookers gawked at items that seemed too good to be true. He hesitated, but the pull was irresistible. If he could just get a hold of something here, he could change everything. Could he? There was a thrill that sent shivers down his spine, both exciting and terrifying. That faint sense of excitement rose with every passing moment, morphing into an urgent feeling deep in his gut. He could sense that something was waiting for him, something monumental. Suddenly, a figure emerged, a woman cloaked in shadow, her voice smooth as silk yet sharp as a blade. "You don't know what these treasures can do," she murmured, her intense gaze locking onto his, holding him captive. "You're on the brink, Miguel. But be careful. Every fortune has a price." Hey! Before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon, and while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. The woman's words hung in the air, ominous and heavy. As Miguel pondered his next step, a sudden commotion erupted nearby. An old man shouted, "Thieves! Someone's taking our hopes." Panic spread through the crowd, faces contorted with fear just before they surged toward the exit like a tidal wave. Miguel's heart raced, pounding in his ears. The marketplace, so vibrant moments ago, was now a vortex of chaos. And amidst it all, the mysterious woman locked eyes with him again, an unsettling smirk playing on her lips. "Choose your path carefully, Miguel. The empire you seek could crumble before it begins." The weight of her warning pressed against his chest as he turned to flee. What awaited him in that darkened alley? Would he grasp the fortune he so desperately wanted, or would he find himself caught in an even murkier web? As he sprinted into the night, the sound of his racing heartbeat intertwined with the shouts of desperation. The thrill of the chase sang in his bones. Little did he know, destiny awaited just around the corner. Miguel burst out of the marketplace, the cool night air hitting him like a slap in the face. He stumbled into the street, breathless and disoriented, the chaos still echoing in his mind. Shadows cast by flickering streetlights danced around him as if alive, mocking his uncertainty. He glanced back, half expecting to see that cloaked woman pursuing him, but the alley swallowed the commotion. Silence swept in like a tide, leaving only the night's soft whispers. What just happened? Was it a warning or a threat? His gut twisted as questions clawed at his mind. He couldn't shake off the image of her smile, one that hinted at secrets more sinister than he could comprehend. Every fortune comes with a price. A cold shiver raced down his spine. Was he truly ready to pay it? Miguel took a few steps into the bustling street. The crowd had thinned, yet a palpable tension hung in the air. He felt exposed, like prey in search of safe ground. He needed answers, and soon. The story that had begun as a simple quest for wealth now felt tangled in shadows, a web he could not quite see. His legs moved instinctively. He had to find shelter, a place to gather his thoughts. The vibrant colors of the marketplace had diminished into muted hues, and the shouts of vendors turned into muffled whispers in his ears. He wandered aimlessly, lost in a city that felt both familiar and foreign. Then, he spotted a bar on the corner with an old neon sign flickering overhead. It seemed like a good enough place to start, a refuge from the night's chaos. Pushing through the heavy wooden door, the warmth enveloped him, and a medley of voices and laughter greeted him inside. A band played soft jazz, just the kind of low-key vibe he needed. He took a seat at the bar, ordering a drink to steady his racing heart. As he sipped, he scanned the room. This place was filled with people sharing secrets and dreams, just like he had hoped to do. But did they know about the darkness lurking around the next corner, or the hidden price waiting for him? That S when a voice caught his ear, low and smooth. Looking troubled there, friend. A man slid onto the stool beside him, eyes sparkling with a mixture of curiosity and mischief. His hair was slicked back, and he wore a tailored suit that spoke of wealth, but there was something else beneath the surface. Just thinking, Miguel replied, unsure of whether he should divulge his chaos to a stranger. Thinking too much can be dangerous in this city, the man said, swirling his drink, his eyes narrowing. Especially when opportunities arrive in disguise. What's your story? Miguel hesitated, weighing his options. Should he share his ambitions? Could this man help him cut through the noise surrounding him, or would he sink deeper into the shadows? Let me tell you something. The man leaned closer, his tone shifting to an intense whisper. There's a way to seize the treasures hiding in plain sight, but only if you're willing to take risks. The real question is, what are you willing to sacrifice? Miguel felt the air constrict around him. The echoes of the woman's warning flooded back. He could either retreat into obscurity, maybe just slip away unnoticed, or he could leap into this world, tangled in danger and allure, where the line between success and ruin blurred like the reflections in his glass. The moment hung heavy between them. Miguel weighed the possibilities: wealth that could change everything, or a path to disaster. What choice would he make? He opened his mouth, words catching in his throat as the drums of fate beat loudly in his ears. Then, in a moment of clarity, he asked, "What's the catch?" The man grinned, revealing a glimpse of his true self, and leaned back casually. "Ah, there it is. The catch, my friend, is just the beginning. Are you ready to dive into the depths? Because the city has secrets that might just claim your soul." And with that, the lingering tension coiled tighter, leaving Miguel teetering at the edge of a precipice, the weight of his decision crashing down on him. Would he step forward into the unknown, or would he turn back, leaving the chance for greatness behind? As the band turned up the volume, and the energy crackled around him, he realized this was only the beginning. The choices he made tonight would echo for years to come. Miguel's mind raced, his gut twisted like a rope pulled too tight. He could sense the danger lingering in the man's words. Opportunity, risk, and sacrifice, it all felt intoxicating, yet terrifying. He glanced around the bar, watching people raise their glasses, laughter spilling from their lips. For a moment, he yearned to join them, to escape the heaviness resting on his chest. But then his eyes returned to the man seated next to him, the slick-haired stranger whose gaze was unyielding, almost predatory. "What's your name, friend?" the man asked, leaning forward. "Miguel." "Nice to meet you, Miguel. I'm Luca." The name dripped with confidence, yet it was tinged with something darker. "Tell me, are you an ambitious man? Do you dream big?" His heart pounded. "Of course. Who doesn't he?" Luca chuckled softly, a sound that sent chills down Miguel's spine. Most are content living small, Miguel. They don't see the treasures waiting hidden in plain sight. How far would you go to grasp what others cannot? What do you mean? Miguel felt an unsettling mix of curiosity and dread. Listen, Luca said, his voice dipping. There are deals to be made, paths to walk that can lead you to wealth beyond your wildest dreams. But this city? It's got teeth. It chews up the unwary and spits them out. Miguel's palms grew sweaty. The air in the bar felt thicker, pressing against him as Luca continued. You need to ask yourself, are you willing to walk the line between light and shadow? Because with each decision, you'll find the stakes rising. What do you want from me? Miguel shot back, his throat dry. Partner, I don't just hand out treasures. I need someone who can carry their weight, someone with eyes wide open. Miguel's pulse thrummed in his ears. What's the first step? The man's lips curled into a smile, a predator eyeing its prey. Meet me tomorrow night, same place. I'll show you the opportunities waiting for a man brave enough to reach for them. But heed my warning, there's no going back. With a nod, Luca slid off the stool, leaving a crisp business card behind. Miguel stared at it, the corners curling under his fingers as a sudden wave of nausea hit him. Was he truly prepared for the depths of his ambition? He watched as Luca melted into the crowd, the energy in the bar shifting as if a door had quietly closed behind him. The soft jazz morphed into something heavier, each note echoing his mounting doubt. Miguel clenched the card tightly. Lost in thought, he barely noticed the waitress approaching. Another drink? She asked, eyeing him curiously. No, I think I need to go. The room slowly swirled around him as he slid off the stool. He stepped outside into the cool night, the air now electric. He glanced back at the bar, the vivid colors inside looking alive, promising, but the shadows whispering warnings. Was he scanning for trouble, or had trouble just found him? The streetlights flickered above, pulsating like the heartbeat of the city he was about to plunge into. As he walked, the crisp air felt like a challenge. Was he ready to leap into the unknown? Questions flooded his mind. What were the true costs of success? Would this path change him forever, or would it lead him to an inescapable darkness? Just as he reached the corner, a familiar figure appeared, the cloaked woman from the marketplace. She stood still, eyes locked onto him, an enigmatic smile dancing across her lips. In that fleeting moment, he felt a chill, a deep sense of foreboding mixed with intrigue. Remember what I said? Her voice called out, slicing through the night. Every fortune has a price. He hesitated, the weight of her words crashing over him like a tsunami. What do you want from me? He called back, voice shaking. Your choice is coming, Miguel. The city waits. He turned down the next street, quickening his pace, heart pounding in his chest, mind a whirlwind of fear and ambition. What lay ahead? Did he have what it took to uncover the hidden treasures? Or would he repay the price with something he could never reclaim? In that moment, the night seemed darker, the stakes rising like the tide, and he couldn't shake the feeling that he was being pulled into a game where the rules were crafted by unseen forces. Tomorrow would change everything. Tomorrow arrived with an unnerving calm, a stark contrast to the storm brewing in Miguel's mind. The sun barely peeked through the heavy clouds, casting the city in a muted, gray light. Each footstep toward the bar felt weighted, like he was carrying the very essence of his doubts and fears, doubt that gnawed at his insides, fear that loomed like a dark cloud overhead as he stepped inside. The familiar sights and sounds swirled around him. The bar was quieter now, shadows longer, as if waiting with bated breath to see what he would choose. He spotted Luca seated at the far end, the slick-haired figure exuding confidence, a magnet for attention amidst the mundane. Miguel approached, his heart racing. I'm here, he said, trying to mask the tremor in his voice. Good. You came. Luca's smile was enticing, yet unsettling. I thought you might have second thoughts. Maybe I did, Miguel replied, tension crackling between them as he took a seat. But I needed to know more. Wisdom for a man with ambition, Luca stated, leaning back as he poured 2 drinks from a glinting bottle. To seize success, you need to understand what lies beneath. We're not just after treasure, Miguel. We're after influence, power, freedom. Miguel studied him. And what's the cost? A mere pinprick in the sea of riches. Luca's eyes sparkled with mischief, masking something deeper that lurked beneath the surface. I speak of opportunities that make your head spin. But listen closely, the higher you climb, the harder the fall. Miguel could feel sweat pooling at the back of his neck. What are you saying? Luca leaned in, his voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. I have a job, a first test for you. It involves securing something that belongs to a man who's untouchable for now. The catch? He doesn't just run businesses. He runs this city in ways you can't imagine. Miguel's breath hitched. And what happens if I fail? Failure isn't an option, my friend. You either rise or disappear. His tone darkened, heavy with implications. Imagine wealth and power at your fingertips, everything your heart desires. But don't think the city won bite back. People will go to war for their men. Every fiber of Miguel's being screamed for him to run. Yet, deep down, a different voice urged him to stay. The promise of a future etched in gold and silk whispered sweetly against the backdrop of the life he currently lived, one filled with struggle and toil. I'll do it, he said, resolute. Luca's smile widened, creating a sinister thrill in the air. Good. Meet me at the abandoned warehouse by the docks tonight. And bring your courage. From there, we'll lay the foundation of your empire. The weight of his decision hammered down upon him. As he stood to leave, the cloaked woman's words echoed in his mind. A relentless loop of warning that wouldn't fade. Every fortune has a price. With a stiff nod, Miguel exited the bar. The city before him loomed large and unforgiving, shadows shifting in eerie patterns. His pulse quickened as reality sank, and he was about to step into a world alive with danger and opportunity. As he made his way toward the docks, thoughts collided. Was this the path to everything he wanted? Or was he walking into a trap? Each step felt like a descent into darkness where only the bravest dare to tread. At the corner of his eye, he caught a flicker movement. The cloaked woman, waiting, watching, her gaze locked onto his, revealing nothing yet holding everything. Tonight, Miguel, you must choose wisely, she murmured, almost lost in the wind. His breath caught. As he hurried on, the question burned within him. How far was he willing to go to build his empire, and what untold truths would he unearth in the process? The docks awaited, and with them, a destiny shrouded in darkness. The air was thick at the docks, pregnant with the scent of salt and rust. Shadows loomed in the twilight, the waters below heaving like a restless beast. Miguel's heart hammered in his chest, anticipation swirling with dread. The decision to dive headfirst into this underworld clawed at him, gnashing its teeth. Hungry for the taste of his resolve, he arrived at the warehouse, an imposing structure silhouetted against the evening sky. A creeping anxiety gnawed at him as he reached for the door. With a deep breath, he pushed it open, the sound of creaking hinges echoing in the large, empty space. Dust motes danced in the last rays of light filtering through grimy windows. Welcome, Miguel. Luca's voice bounced off the walls, cool and composed. Standing under a flickering overhead bulb, he seemed like a ghost, both vibrant and unsettling. Right on time, I see. Let us get this over with, Miguel replied, his bravado wavering. He stepped further inside, feeling the weight of the place settle upon him. The shadows wrapped around his ankles like chains. Luca gestured to a table where a series of documents lay, spread out like the very evidence of Miguel's impending fate. This is your map. The layout of his estate, Luca said, eyes glinting as he leaned in closer. You'll need a way in, and I have arranged for a distraction. A distraction? What does that mean? Miguel questioned, his stomach tightening at the thought of the unknown. Don't worry, Luca said, waving a hand dismissively. It's all part of the plan. Just stick to the map. You'll find what you need in his study. The device, it's crucial. What does it do? Miguel pressed, vision narrowed, demanding to know more. It unlocks access to his entire operation. Every dirty secret he holds. You take it, and you gain leverage against him and everyone who thinks they're untouchable. Luca's enthusiasm was palpable, his face alight with ambition that felt more dangerous than desire. Miguel shifted his weight, grappling with the implications. With every word, the stakes surged higher, twisting into a taut string that could snap at any moment. And what if I get caught? Then we'll discuss your legacy in another life. Luca chuckled darkly, the sound chilling Miguel deep inside. But failure isn't an option. Think about it: riches, power, everything you've ever wanted. This is it. Miguel ran a hand through his hair, desperation clawing at his throat. He thought of his family, the struggle to make ends meet, the exhausting grind of everyday life. This was his shot, his chance to rewrite the narrative. But was the price too steep? Before he could voice these thoughts, a crash shattered the air, followed by an explosion of noise that rocked the foundation of the warehouse. Miguel's heart stopped, panic rising like bile in his throat. Get down, Luca hissed, lunging for cover behind the table. Miguel obeyed, adrenaline shooting through his veins. The door burst inwards, revealing dark figures silhouetted against the smoky backdrop. They swarmed like angry bees, eyes searching, weapons drawn. Miguel listened carefully. Luca's voice cut through the chaos, urgent and low. It's too late to back out, you need to get out of here. Find the side exit. I'll hold them off. No, Miguel protested, a cold sweat breaking out over his skin. We do this together. But the look in Luca's eyes was fierce. You have to live to seize your future. Now go. Miguel felt his every instinct scream, but the roar of the intruders drowned out his thoughts. One glance back at Luca showed determination but also impending danger. Breathing heavily, Miguel propelled himself toward the shadows of an adjacent corridor, racing against the uncertainty closing in around him. That as he stumbled through the darkness, the echoes of chaos amplified in his ears. He was slipping into a world where danger danced dangerously close. Could he escape, or had he just stepped into a trap, one that he might never escape from? But deep down, he knew this was only the beginning of a harrowing journey, filled with twists he could never have predicted. Where would this lead him next, in pursuit of power that might bury him alive? Miguel raced down the narrow corridor, heart pounding like a drum in his chest, each footfall echoing like a countdown. Adrenaline coursed through his veins, sharper than ever. He could hear the chaos intensifying behind him, yelling, gunshots, the shattering of glass. Every sound clawed at his spine, urging him to move faster, to disappear into the night. He skidded to a halt at a fork in the passageway. To the left, a dimly lit path stretched into obscurity, while to the right, a faint flicker of light suggested an exit. He swallowed hard. I need to get out, he murmured, but which way would lead him to safety? Choosing the flickering light, he instinctively moved forward, dread pooling in his stomach. The air was stale, heavy with secrets, and a chill ran through him as if the very walls were alive, whispering dangers he couldn't comprehend. He pushed forward, nearly stumbling as the floor felt uneven beneath his feet. The light grew brighter, and with it, the sounds of chaos grew distant. Just as hope began to spark a flicker within him, he rounded a corner and nearly collided with a metal door. It was closed tight, but a soft light leaked from beneath. He pressed his ear against it. Were there voices? People? Miguel's instincts screamed at him to stay hidden, but curiosity tugged at him like a lifeline. He turned the handle, hesitating as the door creaked open. It swung into an office, cluttered with papers and old electronics, the air thick with cigarette smoke. His heart raced. Was this the study Luca had mentioned? Then he saw it, a sleek device nestled between two dusty monitors, glinting like a jewel. This was what Luca wanted him to find. But the moment the realization struck, the tension escalated. The door behind him slammed, the thud reverberating through his bones. He turned just in time to see a dark figure silhouetted in the doorway. Thought you could run? The figure growled, stepping forward, weapon raised. It was one of the intruders. Miguel's blood ran cold. Get down. He couldn't remember the last time he felt so small, so vulnerable, but his body acted on pure instinct. He ducked, barely avoiding a bullet that lodged into the wall beside him with a spray of debris. He scrambled toward the desk, heart hammering as he lunged for the device. It felt heavy in his hands, a promise of power and freedom. But then he heard footsteps closing in behind him. Desperation clawed at his throat. He had to get out. Gripping the device, he bolted for the window, ignoring the pain that shot through his shoulder as he elbowed it open. The cool night air rushed in, a siren song of escape. With a quick glance back, he saw the figure advancing, determined. Come on, come on, he urged himself, clambering through the opening. He landed with a thud on the gravel outside, knees scraping against the rough ground. But there was no time to catch his breath. Distant sirens wailed, growing louder as they pierced the night air. They were coming for him. He could sense it, a darkness that loomed over his every step. He shot a glance back toward the warehouse, the chaos spilling out into the night. Luca had sacrificed his chance for escape, and now Miguel was left with nothing but uncertainty and fear. Where could he run? The streets seemed endless and hostile, but he needed to find a way to stay one step ahead as he plunged deeper into the shadows of the night, gripping the device like a lifeline. One thought haunted him: how was he supposed to flip the script on a life that was already spiraling out of control? What were the consequences of this choice? And who else might be intertwined in this dangerous game? The answers lay ahead, veiled in darkness. Miguel stumbled onto the street, his breath coming in ragged gasps. The night enveloped him, thick and heavy, wrapping around him like a shroud. He barely registered the glow of streetlights flickering in the distance. His feet moved on instinct, each step a plea for safety, for a haven beyond the chaos that threatened to swallow him whole. Panic clawed at him as he glanced back toward the warehouse. Shadows flickered there, and he could hear shouts now, angry and desperate. They were searching for him. How long before they found out he was gone? The questions hammered in his mind like a relentless drum. He darted through an alley, the smell of garbage and decay filling his nostrils. The device pressed against his chest, weighty and foreign, reminding him of the responsibility he hadn't wanted. What did Luca know? What had he dragged Miguel into? His thoughts raced, and with them the pang of doubt. Should he have trusted his friend? Keep going, he whispered urgently. The concrete walls seemed to close in, the darkness thickening as fear twisted his gut. He couldn't stop, not now. Not when the sirens wailed in the distance, echoing like some cruel chorus announcing his fate. Turning a corner, he saw a flash of movement, a figure standing at the opposite end of the alley. Miguel's heart sputtered. Was this another enemy? He squinted, the figure stepping into the dim light of a storefront window. It was a woman, her hair wild, eyes wide with intensity. Hey, over here, she beckoned. There was urgency in her voice, but also something familiar. Trusting instinct over reason, he bolted toward her. Are you with them? He asked, breathless. No, I'm getting out too, she exclaimed, glancing nervously behind her. My name is Rosa. They're after me too. You're Miguel, right? How do you know my name? He hesitated, doubts swirling in his mind. I overheard them. I followed you. She glanced over her shoulder again, fear tight in her features. We can't talk here. Come on. Before he knew it, she was tugging at his arm, leading him toward a battered door just beyond the alley. Miguel's heart raced with uncertainty. He could feel fear blooming in his chest, yet an odd thrill simmered beneath the surface. The door creaked as they stepped inside, the familiarity of a cramped space enveloping them. It was a small cafe, deserted, with scattered furniture and debris that told stories of abandonment. Moonlight streamed through broken windows, illuminating dust particles dancing like fireflies caught in a dream. Why are they after you? He demanded, urgency bubbling in his voice. A shipment, Rosa replied, her eyes darting around warily. I was supposed to deliver something important. They realized I wasn't just following orders. I ran when I found out what it really was. Questions buzzed in Miguel's mind, but he couldn't focus. And this device? He gestured to the sleek shape in his hand. What do you know about it? That's the key, she said, a tremor in her voice. But you need to trust me. They're not just looking for you. They're looking for this. The weight of her words crashed upon him. The knowledge nestled in the device could tear his world apart or rebuild it anew. He felt the moment shift, an electric charge filling the air, binding their fates together. Suddenly, footsteps echoed outside, sharp and relentless. Rosa's eyes widened. They found us. We have to go now. Adrenaline surged through him. As she grabbed his hand, thrusting him toward another exit, Miguel realized it wasn't just about escape anymore. This was bigger than both of them. What lay ahead? Secrets hidden, choices made, lives intertwined. Could they truly navigate the storm together, or was he leading them both into deeper danger? One thing was certain: their lives were on the line, and the game had only just begun. Rosa pulled Miguel through a narrow hallway, the dim light barely illuminating their frantic escape. The distant sound of shouts and footsteps grew louder. Panic fluttered in Miguel's chest. What would happen if they were caught? He wanted to scream, to break down, but pushed his fears deep. "Quick! In here!" Rosa urged, shoving him into an old storage closet just as the door behind them swung open. Miguel's breath hitched as he pressed against the wall, heart pounding wildly beneath his ribs. The darkness wrapped around them like a blanket, muffling the outside chaos. He could hear voices now. Two men discussing something urgently. Search everywhere. Find the girl and that device. One of them barked, the tension palpable in the air. Miguel's mind raced. Was this the beginning of the end, or just another twist in their survival? Rosa's hand gripped his tightly, her fingers cold and trembling. "They won't stop until they find us," she whispered, her breath shaky. He could feel the weight of her fear as he turned to face her. "What do they want with the device?" Miguel asked softly, his voice barely above a whisper. "It's not just any device," she replied, urgency lacing her tone. "It's capable of hacking into major systems, news, financial districts, even government files. Whoever controls it controls the narrative." Miguel felt a rush of disorientation. And where does that leave us? He couldn't fathom the magnitude of what she was saying. A tool for power, and they were tangled in its web. "They'll stop at nothing to get it back," she said, locking eyes with him. "We need to figure out who we can trust. I can lead you to someone who might help." Before he could respond, footsteps echoed closer, and the voices sharpened into frantic commands. "Move in. Check that room." Panic set in. Miguel's heart thudded in his ears. "There's no time. We have to go. Now." He could feel their world closing in, the crushing weight of uncertainty pressing down on him. After holding their breath for what felt like an eternity, the door swung open, and one of the men stepped into the closet's threshold, scanning the room. Miguel barely dared to breathe. They were seconds away from being discovered. Rosa moved slightly, and Miguel felt her warmth next to him, grounding him. "On 3 we bolt," he whispered, counting on silent determination. 1, 2. Suddenly, the man's eyes narrowed. "Get out," he shouted, lunging forward. With no time left, Miguel erupted from the closet, adrenaline coursing through his veins. He barreled past the man with Rosa at his side, ignoring the roar of anger that erupted behind them. They dashed into the back alley, fleeing into darkness, only to be met by the thick smoke of fear that clutched at their throats. "Where to now?" Miguel gasped, scanning the shadows for any sign of safety. "There's an underground network," Rosa said breathlessly, darting down an even narrower path. "It's dangerous, but it's our best shot." Before he could respond, something cold and metallic brushed against his neck. A gun, pointed firmly. "Stop right there," a voice commanded. Miguel froze, a lump forming in his throat. Would this be the end of their desperate flight? He turned slowly, eyes widening as he faced the barrel of dread and realization. The figure looked familiar, a haunting echo from his past. "Luca," he gasped, the betrayal seeping into his thoughts. The weight of the world hung on a fragile thread, and in that instant, a choice loomed heavy in the air. Would he align with his friend or fight against everything he once trusted? But one question burned in Miguel's mind. Was Luca there to help or to hunt? The night deepened, secrets tangled, choices looming. The answers would change everything. No, Rosa shouted, her voice harsh and breaking. Luca's eyes flickered between Miguel and Rosa, scanning for a threat. What are you doing, Miguel? There was confusion etched in his features, but the gun remained steady, pointing straight at Miguel's heart. Miguel's mind spun. Memories of laughter, of shared dreams, surged back long before betrayal and distance clouded their relationship. Luca, put the gun down, he pleaded, voice heavy. We're in danger. Danger? You're the one walking right into it. Luca shot back, taking a cautious step forward. Miguel's pulse quickened. A sheen of sweat collected at his brow as the weight of the situation bore down on him. Rosa squeezed his hand tighter, a lifeline amidst the chaos. Yes, right, Luca. There are people after us. They want the device. You know that. For a brief moment, the anger in Luca's eyes flickered as doubt crept in. What device? He asked, lowering the gun just a fraction. Enough for Miguel to feel a glimmer of hope. Rosa stepped forward, her voice urgent, steady. The one that can control the narrative. We need your help. Don't you understand? It's bigger than us. Luca hesitated, weighing their words like each second might cradle a secret. If you lying, I can swear on my life. Miguel interrupted, desperation climbing in his throat. Your life, our lives. They'll chase us for this. Silence hung thick in the air, and only the distant sounds of footsteps echoed back down the alleyway. Just then, Rosa's eyes widened. They're close, please. A flash of something crossed Luca's face. Hesitation turning to resolution. All right, but we need to move. Now. He holstered his gun, and Miguel exhaled a shaky breath moments before that cold steel felt like a noose around his neck. They hurried into the labyrinth of dark alleyways, the nervous shuffle of feet echoing through the corridors of night. Rosa led the way, confidence surging as she slipped effortlessly into the shadows. Luca stuck close, his eyes darting, searching. Miguel could feel his heart racing, the biting chill of fear clawing at his throat. Where are we going? He asked breathlessly, trying to keep up with Rosa. The underground network is just ahead. We need to get to the safe house, Rosa replied, determination sharpening her voice. That's where we can regroup. I might know someone who can help us in there. As they turned a corner, Miguel nearly collided with a wall of brick. He squinted into the darkness, trying to make sense of their surroundings. Are you sure this leads to safety? He whispered, doubt creeping into his mind. The weight of their reality began to crush him. Luca placed a hand on Miguel's shoulder. If Rosa trusts them, then we have to trust them. We don't have any other options. But Miguel's mind raced. Trust was a fragile thing, and the night was thick with lies. What if this safe house was nothing more than another trap, another dead end? He couldn't shake the feeling that the walls were closing in, the heat of pursuit still too near. They reached an unmarked door, a rusty metal slab breathing a moment's grace. Rosa pushed it open, revealing a dim staircase spiraling downwards. After you, Luca gestured, careful but insistent. The air grew colder as they descended, each step echoing like a clock ticking down to an explosion. Fear wrapped around Miguel yet again, but he clung to the flicker of hope that maybe, just maybe, there was safety below. Just as they reached the bottom, a noise echoed behind them. Footsteps, urgent and deliberate. Come on, Rosa urged, her voice a mix of urgency and fear. They slipped into the large, dim room that felt alive with shadows. But as Miguel turned to look back, a chilling realization swept over him. The glowing glint of a knife flashed from behind the doorframe. The question hung heavy in the air. Were they truly safe here? Or had they just walked into the jaws of another nightmare? The answers were waiting. Miguel's heart thudded in his chest as he turned back to face Rosa and Luca. The room felt suffocating, filled with secrets thick enough to cut through. Just when he thought they found a sanctuary, danger clung to them like a persistent fog. Where's the safe house? He gasped, his throat dry. Rosa's eyes darted around, scanning for possible escape routes. It should be here. I swear. There's always a way out. Her voice trembled, betraying the confidence she tried to project. Luca stepped forward, a frown creasing his brow. We don't have time to waste. We have to find a way to take the advantage back. The device, we can't let it fall into the wrong hands. The wrong hands? They're after it now, Miguel shouted, every word soaked in frustration. We barely made it here. As if to punctuate his statement, firm knocks echoed through the door, followed by harsh voices calling out not far behind. They're close. Get ready, Rosa urged, her hands balling into fists. Get behind me, Luca told Miguel, taking a protective stance. He slipped out a small knife from his jacket, its blade glistening ominously in the dim light. What are you doing? Miguel hissed. We can't fight them, we need to run. No, we stand our ground. We need to send a message, Luca insisted, resolve setting his features into a mask of determination. I'd rather face them here than in the alley. Miguel felt a rush of heat flood his cheeks, equal parts anger and fear. And what do we do if they come through that door? By time, Luca replied, glancing at Rosa. We need a distraction. Get that cupboard open. It should lead to the old ventilation shaft. Miguel, can you hold this? He tossed the knife to Miguel, who caught it awkwardly, the weight feeling foreign in his hands. Me? Why me? Miguel shot back, heart racing. Just then, the trapped sense of dread washed over him, clawing at his insides. Because you're still breathing, Luca stated sharply. We all need to trust one another. I'm prepared for what's about to come. Can you do that? Miguel took a deep breath, the tension vibrating through him. He glanced at Rosa's fierce determination and Luca's unwavering stance. For a second, the fear melted away. Okay. Let us do this, he muttered, adrenaline igniting his every nerve. As Rosa fumbled with the cupboard, a sharp crack of the door stood stark against the silence. They're coming. Just as she managed to wrench the cupboard open, the door burst inwards, and shadows poured into the room. Miguel's grip tightened around the knife, his breath quickening. The intruders swept in, their faces concealed beneath masks, eyes flashing with adrenaline and greed. Step away from the girl, one of them ordered, the steel in his voice commanding. Miguel looked at Rosa, a shared breath of panic igniting in that fleeting moment. Run, he urged, lunging forward with the knife aimed at the nearest assailant. Don't be an idiot, Luca shouted just as Miguel swung. But the knife connected, and the man recoiled, a cry tearing from his throat. The chaos erupted, men shouting while Miguel felt the adrenaline racing faster, blood pumping fiercely through his veins. Come on, Rosa shouted, the air electric with urgency. Now, with newfound resolve, Miguel ducked and dodged through the flurry of chaos, following Rosa, who made a beeline for the cupboard. But as they slipped inside, Luca fought valiantly against the attackers. I'll hold them, Luca roared, sweat streaming down his brow. You need to escape. Luca, no, Miguel protested, panic bathing his voice. Just go, Luca yelled, determination like a fortress around him. Not without you, Miguel shot back, but before he could overcome the hesitation, Rosa grabbed his arm and pulled him back toward the cupboard. Miguel, we can't do anything for him. He made his choice. With a heavy heart, every instinct screamed at him to save his friend, but logic ruled here. They were two against a pack, and the night felt darker with their enemies rising in shadows. Go, now, Luca insisted once more, slamming the cupboard shut as he faced the remaining men with nothing more than raw bravery. With a heavy heart, Miguel and Rosa crawled into the cold metal shaft, the scent of dust and decay prickling at his senses. He felt the constricting closure of the space as they maneuvered deeper into the darkness. With each pull forward, guilt surged stronger than before, an ever-churning mix of fear and anger toward a world that felt so relentlessly cruel. Are we safe here? Rosa whispered, voice tinged with desperation. Yet Miguel could only wonder as motions echoed around them. I don't know, he admitted, but we need a plan. Just when silence momentarily wrapped its arms around them, the distant sound of sirens could be heard above, and from it surged a haunting realization this was not just the scuffle for survival, but the point of no return. The line had been crossed. First, We need to secure ourselves, he said, determination refocusing his thoughts, ripped from the fear of loss. We'll find Luca. I don't care what it takes. Rosa nodded, a fierce strength emanating from her. We will. Together. As they pressed onwards through the ventilation shaft, determination replaced fear. Choices awaited them. This time it wasn't about just survival. It was about building a future, even amid darkness. They emerged from the shaft into an empty side street, eyelids fluttering against the sudden light illuminating duty and choice. The world before them shimmered with dangerous allure, each corner steeped in possibility. Nothing will stand in our way, Miguel said, steeling himself for the battles that lay ahead. Together, they made a pact against the whispers of shadows. What began as desperation morphed into the promise of something monumental. They strode forward, emboldened by choice this time. They were ready to seize their fate. Let us go take back our power. Rosa smiled, grasping Miguel's hand with the quiet ferocity of a storm gathering strength. And with that, they stepped boldly into the unknown, ready to fight for the legacy they both deserved. This moment was theirs, and there was no going back. If you want to continue this journey with us, now is the time to support the channel. Subscribe immediately to never miss out on these gripping stories. This is the moment to show your support. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm. And we want to hear from you. Flood the comments section with your reactions, theories, and what you think might happen next. Don't wait even one more second. Share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. True fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions. Your voice matters.